I thought about it last.
Gil Everton, no time to think. Your favorite all-time female athlete?
It would have to be my old friend Martina Navratilova.
Ooh, that's a kind of a good one. John Henry?
Without a doubt, Cheryl Swoops, Texas Tech, great.
I'm surprised nobody went with me in my answer. Bruce Jenner. PressBox DFW Live. I'm Richie Witt, and I apparently am doing a radio show with headphones, and you guys are just here doing a podcast.
Yeah.
What,
I mean,
did you say something? I couldn't hear you. Alongside two venerable Metropolitan sports writers,
hold on, can I talk in
Gil Everton and John Henry. We're waiting for a very important call. I got to be a breaking news guy. Season 2, episode number 5. Wow. First of all, let's get to this. We have a new addition to the Bobblehead family. Congratulations.
Right. Our colleague Jimmy Birch tipped me off that Pistol Pete was up for sale, and I found him online, and there he is wearing his New Orleans Jazz uniform.
And his bowl haircut. I mean,
he's got that same bowl haircut.
So do you have these? He's squeezed in there between the Pope and Elvis.
That's
are
right.
These ranked in like
the Holy Trinity.
Your batting order or your preference? What are the rankings here?
The Pope's not a bad leadoff man when you think about it. But did you know that I was a classmate of Pistol Pete?
At LSU.
At LSU.
Let's hear it.
I'm that old, but the Pete and I were the same year, and we were in a couple of these big class sections, that every freshman takes, where they've got 100 and something kids, and when you sit in alphabetical order, Lebreton is not that far from Maravich, so he was always 1 or 2 seats away from it.
Yep.
And I later on, as I got to know Pete, once he was with the Jazz and everything, and I was working for the New Orleans newspaper, and then later I did a story when Pete came back to Dallas for the NBA Legends game. Pete had been a hermit for a little while. He reemerged and was going to a lot of different NBA functions. And I told Pete this story. I said, well, you were in the same class with me. And he says, was I ever there?
That's what I was about to ask you. What was his attendance like?
His attendance was spotty.
I bet it was.
I'd say it was spotty.
Man, but was he one of the funnest players you've ever seen?
Oh, without a doubt. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah.
And, with all due respects to Magic Johnson and a lot of the great ball handlers of today, he was phenomenal. If there had been a 3-point line in those days,
can you imagine?
He averaged 44 points a game as
44.
it was. He would have
with
had
no shot clock and a 2 points.
Yeah.
2 points,
Right.
no 3-point line.
He truly would have averaged, I would say, 10 assists a game, even with his limited cast supporting cast. And he would have averaged, mid-50s probably in points.
And he was the bane of every youth coach's existence, like my dad, because I didn't want to do anything fundamental. I wanted to be Pete Maravich. And I was 6 years old, dribbling the ball off my foot out of bounds and throwing it off the car.
You didn't have Pete Maravich hands.
Absolutely, yeah.
No
Pete
one
Maravich,
did.
nothing
Pete
except his
Maravich
bowl haircut. All right, PressBox DFW Live. Let's jump into this. We'll have Matt Mosley on later to break down the Mavericks. That's why some of us have headphones on already. We're prepared. The U.S. women's soccer team. Did you watch the final?
Oh, absolutely.
John Henry?
Watched most of it.
Most of it. So they went from 13-0 opener against Thailand, which was very excessive to a lot of us. You wrote the column saying, "You go girls, celebrate all you want."
Right.
They were so dominant though during this tournament. 26-3, they outscored their opponents. Is that ever? I mean, I don't follow the Women's World Cup, but that's about as dominant as you can get, right?
Oh, absolutely. But
never trailed in a game. I mean, it was just whatever they could basically name their score and orchestrate their celebration.
Women's soccer is, and I've covered a couple of women's World Cups, and I've covered them during the Mia Hamm days,
Okay.
and Brandy Chastain and Julie Foudy and all. And
Did you go to school with them at all?
no, they would be very young. And the women's game has progressed so much since then, and a good indicator of that was that 7 of the 8 final teams were from Europe, which shows, and now they have developmental teams.
Yep.
Some of the big sponsors over there are jumping on board. You've got the traditional men's football clubs over there that are now have women's development programs, and it's only going to get better. And I think because of that, I'm sure that the U.S.'s grip on the top of the world in women's soccer is going to fade a little bit, but still, this was a pretty good bunch.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're-
probably the best U.S. team ever.
And that's saying something. They've had some good teams.
I mean, it probably does need to be a little more competitive, doesn't it? That stat sounds like something out of a
Yeah, if I told
mismatched
you
youth
you're
league.
going to watch a women's soccer tournament, one team's going to outscore the others 26-3, you wouldn't watch it.
No.
But then they're American,
But
so
it is
we get
Americans.
behind them. So I wrote this column for PressBox DFW.com, and here's some highlights of the title game, US 2, Netherlands nothing, where they dominated. It could have been 7-0. The goalie for
Early.
Netherlands played an amazing game.
Yeah.
And here's of course, the penalty kick that was given. This team, like I said, was never really threatened. And Rapinoe got the golden boot and the golden ball and got to celebrate. And for all of her celebrations, she goes back and forth with the president a little bit. During that game, I went to a sports bar in Dallas, and I can guarantee there were people who did not share my political affiliation, but we were high-fiving and we were buying beers and we were all celebrating. There was USA chants. For at least 90 minutes, we were the United States of America. That's the magic of sports, right?
They didn't boo when Megan's
Not even a little bit. No.
No?
No.
Was anybody reading my limericks?
good for them.
I didn't get asked about John Doe very often during this thing. But isn't that the magic of sports, that it can knock down barriers and make us all feel like we're one?
Sure.
Why are you looking at me skeptical? I don't think you're buying this. What's up?
I mean, nationalism's nothing new, and
But we're a divided country.
we are right now.
Yes. And so did you feel this or no? Am I the only one?
No, no. I mean, I think you're right, and I think you're right. Sports it does have that effect on
Yep.
people.
And people do it all the time for the Ryder Cup.
Right.
They
Yeah.
do it for the Olympics.
Especially the Olympics, yeah.
And, if there's a U.S. team in the FIBA basketball
Yep.
World Championships, they'll be pulling for.
Maybe that's the trick. We need to have an international sports competition 365 days a year in some sport, so we can all get behind the scenes.
What they need is a good hockey team this year to beat the Russians.
Yeah, to beat the Russians.
Beat the
right.
Canadians.
We just need to replay that. The Miracle on Ice every
Right.
day at noon.
Right.
Needs to be on TV. All right, so the women's team, as you said, Gil, still has a grasp on the world. Our men's team is embarrassing. Lost to Mexico in the Gold Cup recently.
But that's
That's
nothing
not
new.
no. That's not embarrassing or new. But why is there an easy answer? Because you probably are more knowledgeable about this than me and John combined. Why are the women so far ahead of our American men's team?
Because it's a new sport at the global level. The men are trying to catch up from a sport where they've been behind for 60, 70 years.
But we've been
Ever.
playing for 60 or 70 years.
Yeah,
The
isn't
women
that
have been
funny?
playing since 91, and they're already
Right.
dominating.
Right. Finally, kids are growing up in the U.S. and their coaches actually played the game. They don't have to have a select
That's
team
true.
coach
Dad
who came
coaching
from
the Olympic
England,
team, yeah.
who
Yeah,
came from
you're
England
right.
that you're paying, $5,000 a month or whatever to coach your kid in soccer. The U.S. problem has been coaching, and there's also been a problem
From the men's standpoint?
Yeah, from the men's standpoint, and the problem is a developmental one too. The people at the top, the development system, I don't know exactly what they're looking for, and I think the MLS has gained a toehold in this country, but
It's a thing now, and it's
yeah,
legit.
yeah, but it's still not top level
No, of
world
course not.
soccer,
And it's completely
And-
different from the way the Europeans do it as far as developing
Yeah,
players.
right. And we're, so consequently, we have to send the the Pulisics of the world and all that to Europe.
Yeah.
To play,
They get
to
too good,
learn
they're
how
gone.
to be better.
Yeah.
You know, Landon Donovan, we tried to do that when he was young, and he didn't like being over there and came back home.
What effect do you think does Title IX have on our men's soccer team? I mean,
That's a good point, John.
because now they no longer have men's
Yeah.
soccer anymore in
Right.
college.
You're
Yeah,
right. Club
so many
soccer.
colleges have given up on, have dropped men's soccer because it's too many. I don't think it's a what they call a counting sport, but I think that's 13 whatever.
And it's
14.
not a revenue generator. Let's just be honest. There's no way.
No, nobody. I think SMU tried to make it one at
Yeah.
one point, but it's so most colleges have dropped their men's soccer program, but I think all but 2 of the U.S. women World Cup winners went to U.S. colleges, and several stars on some of the teams they were playing.
Yeah.
They all went to U.S. colleges, and to me, that says everything about Title IX.
Yeah, basketball, our basketball, the NBA, is kind of like soccer to the rest of the world. Like when our players get good in soccer, they go play in the Premiership.
Right.
Vice versa, if a basketball player gets good, like Porzingis or Luka, they come here to play with us, and I don't know if we'll ever catch up. So in '99, Brandy Chastain scores the goal, rips her shirt off. It's this whole movement, supposed to be, right? The Pro League of women is really, I read their average contract's $25,000 a year. That's hardly, and there's no TV contract. Is this going to be different this year? Is this going to have the vaulting effect where women's soccer just blossoms, or is it just another one-off?
It's another one-off.
Yeah. What do you think?
I don't
Well,
think
it's
the
got to get
market's
on.
there.
It's got to get on TV.
Yeah.
And it's got to gain some traction there. But you would hope that you would hope that there's with the waning participation level of men's football. I mean, I'm talking about American football.
Yes.
That the moms out there are pushing their kids all in the soccer direction. And that would
It seems
that's what
like,
will make
to me,
soccer
just
grow.
driving around and having a stepson for 10 years where that's all he wanted to do is play youth soccer. It's everywhere.
It has
But
been
it's-
for a long time.
But when they get to 12 or 13, all of a sudden, hey, look, there's football, there's cheerleaders, there's the fame, and soccer just was a developmental sport to help me play better football.
Right, get your
I don't
feet
think how
better.
that changes because football is so ingrained in our culture. But what you're saying, CTE and concussions, maybe parents are going to start saying, let's stay in soccer
Moms
a
are
little
going
bit longer.
to start saying it more than
Yeah,
than
I think you're
dads.
right.
Of course, there's a lot of head injuries in soccer. Too.
True.
There were a couple during that game that
Yeah,
looked pretty
true.
violent. Where are we on the equal pay? Because I'm a tennis guy, and it always irks me to no end when the women's, the WTA, the women's professionals say we deserve equal pay, and I'm like, at majors, no, you don't. You play best 2 out of 3. The men play best 3 out of 5. That's a different road you have to travel to win. You don't deserve the same prize. It'd be like running. One guy ran a 2 mile, one guy ran a 1.5 miles. They didn't do the same work. They don't deserve the same pay. But the women's soccer, same number of games, same field, same length of time in a game. It's a legitimate argument. They are more popular and more successful than the U.S. men. They deserve at least equal pay.
Well, I mean, they're certainly more successful, but we went over reasons why they're more successful. I think it lies in the marketplace. I mean, what kind of revenues do the women bring in versus the men? And I don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
I mean, I think that's where it lies.
Where are you on equal pay?
Well, I have a problem breaking it down to an hourly wage, like tennis, like you're trying to do with tennis.
Why though? It's different.
It's a good argument. It's a good argument. I think at the national governing body level, and so we're talking about U.S. soccer, and how it distributes its money. There's no question in my mind that it needs to be equal pay for both men's and women's teams.
Totally agree.
But in the things that are totally advertising and TV audience that correspond to that, I can see where they would pay the teams according to how much money they're bringing in from advertisers.
I would be
sponsors.
surprised though, and I don't know. I'm like John. I don't know the details, but I'd be surprised if the women didn't generate more revenue, more money, more eyeballs than the men do because of success.
You know what the average attendance for all the games in France was?
I saw the final was like 57,000, but I don't what was the
Average each, I think, during the whole tournament, it was 22,000. And of course, they're playing in smaller stadiums there. But the men.
But the men's World Cup will sell out every ticket to every game.
100,000.
Yeah.
No, they don't have those kind of stadiums.
But if they
over
did,
there.
they would.
But every stadium they have 40, 50,000.
Yeah.
You know, they're filling it. And
Yeah.
so, you know, some of it has to be revenue driven.
Yep.
But I think U.S. soccer needs to just remove the headache from its shoulders.
Yeah.
It's a bad look.
Bad
It's a bad
optics.
look.
Bad
There's no
Absolutely.
justification now
Right.
after this.
Soccer is certainly not fixed, but thank you, soccer, for at least
was fun.
a Sunday morning and a couple of weeks of feeling like we're all standing
And
together.
congratulations, ladies.
Absolutely.
And a good Uniter story too, by the way.
Yeah,
That you wrote.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's up at our website, PressBoxDFW.com. And of course, thank you for watching and/or listening to PressBox DFW Live, our vodcast, which again, last week we had 5,000 plus views. So word is getting out. Thank you for spreading the word. Thank you for watching and pushing us on social media. Next up, Gil's going to give us a halfway point Rangers report card.
Welcome to the pregame meal. And this week we're brought to you by Para Car Care. 2 locations, one right off Highway 183 Airport Freeway, and the other in North Richland Hills on Davis Boulevard. The Rangers have hit the All-Star break here, and they're having their usual pre-All-Star break swoon.
That is why we have to get
They've
into that
won-
someday.
they've
Why
won-
is that? It's been that way since I was been 10 years old.
They've won 2 of 6, 2 of their last 8, and
See how you said that? Very like John Blake is in here. Well, we won 2 of our last 8. We haven't lost 6 of 8. We won 2 of 8.
yeah, they've lost 6 of their last 8.
We're actually today, by the way, we're at what's the name? Progressive Field, where the All-Star
Right,
game was.
Progressive
Yes.
Field.
Quick,
The former Jake.
When I think of
Used to
Cleveland, I
be the
think of
Jake.
progress.
Certainly you do, yeah.
Yeah.
That's real quick. Did you watch the home run derby last night?
No,
I
didn't watch it.
watched it by accident. It was absolutely amazing. It was fantastic.
In what regard?
In regard of
Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. went up against.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Rising star.
He went up against. Oh my God, I forget his name. The
Acosta?
Dodgers lefty, Jock.
Bellinger.
No,
Jock Peterson.
Jock Peterson. And they went 3 or 4 rounds of overtime because they kept matching each other with homers. They both set a record with 29 homers in their round, and then went to overtime. For a home run derby, it was fascinating. And I'm not a home run derby guy, but it's the best thing I've seen since, of course, Josh Hamilton. It did that event proud.
How many have you seen of those?
That'd be the second one, probably.
Was Drew
The
Smiley
second
pitching?
best one I've ever seen.
Did Drew Smiley pitch the whole time?
No, I think it was R.A. Dickey.
They would have run out of baseballs.
They could run out just Rangers, old farmhands to pitch BP.
Oh, here
All right,
comes
sorry.
60-year-old
I-
Delmore
I
Horse.
just sidetracked.
But I'll say
Pregame
this:
Bill. Go ahead.
I don't. To me, the home run derbies become like the dunk contest. you
Right,
know?
but
Yeah,
every
yeah.
once in a while, there's something that makes you go, "That's kind of cool." And last night was that moment for me.
Next year, somebody's gonna swing standing on a chair, or it'll
Jumping
start-
over a Hyundai.
yeah, jumping over Shaquille O'Neal or something.
Actually, those are bad ideas. I don't
But
watch
the
that.
All-Star game, I'm there. I'm
Bro,
gonna,
yeah.
gonna watch. I may not watch the whole thing, the whole
Right.
4 hours, but I'll be there. It was probably the first baseball event that I really
Yeah.
was intrigued
Oh,
by.
as
and
a kid, it was-
hooked me.
Oh, as a kid, I
just
set
one of the
aside
greatest
3 hours.
things, yeah.
Couldn't wait for it.
I'm old enough to remember when a couple of years when they had 2 All-Star games. They added a second one, and the idea it was designed to all the money from the second game was supposed to go to the Major League Baseball Pension Association for the players.
okay.
All the money went, against the gate count. So I think they had the first one at L.A. Coliseum where they could fit 90-something thousand, and I think that lasted about 2 years, and then
That's very
it went
random.
back to normal. That's
Well,
how
I mean,
old I am.
as kids, we're old enough to remember there was one baseball game of the week.
Oh yeah,
So at the All-Star game, we got to see
they're all there.
other
Yeah,
team
Ted Williams
uniforms
and-
or guys we just heard about and read about. We didn't get to see them. So that was it for the year. It was amazing.
I was talking to T.R. Sullivan
yeah.
just yesterday, actually. We just traded emails. So he was saying the first All-Star game was in 1933.
Okay.
And I'm going to get in a little bit of this at Double Dribble. But anyway, he was telling me that they would have, preceding those years, they would have All-Star games in the off-season. And it was fairly common. I never heard of it in my life.
Spare is that in the off season?
Yeah. He didn't elaborate, and I didn't ask him to.
They should try that today.
TR doesn't like to elaborate.
No, he's not a big elaborator.
But
We should try that now. Hey, now that the season's over, everybody get together in a month and we're going to play another
Right.
game. Good luck with
all right,
that.
anyway.
All right, Rangers report card. Give it to us.
Yeah, it's a good
Professor.
time as any, I thought, to grade the Rangers at the midway point. And of course, very unscientific, but that's the way we roll here. I'm not a tough grader, but I'm not one of these people that feels like everybody's got to get an A or a B. You see that sometimes. So I didn't give out that many A's. Let me go through it real quickly. First base, Ronald Guzman. Ron's batting 207.
That's a
This is what he does
crazy
best.
picture. Look at that
This is
picture.
what he does best. He protects the infield
He does
at
the
first
splits
base.
best.
Look at that. I mean, he's going for the first
That
base
is-
to the grass.
Yeah.
Only 24 years old. To me, he's a Gold Glove
You
first
should
baseman.
get an A just for that picture.
Yeah.
He's a Gold Glove first baseman.
He is
I mean,
good.
he
And
includes-
I mean,
that's
I think I read, I haven't, this was a couple weeks ago, but as recently as then, Elvis and Odor did not have a throwing error this year.
I think Elvis had one.
He did?
He had
Must
one.
have been recent
He had
because-
one the day that your wits end came out.
Jinx! But part of that is because they have stretched gold at first, right? Digging
Right,
everything.
Right. But I mean, his slash line is not looking good. He's only got 7 home runs. His numbers are slightly below 2018, but he's only 24 years old, and the Rangers are going to have he's going to get the benefit of the full season here. But boy, you can't give up on a guy that's only 24 that you have
No.
still have control of.
He's a good-
Because he reminds me, his skill set and even his looks remind me of a guy that the Rangers had as a young player named Adrian Gonzalez, who they gave up on and went on to a ridiculous career, made 5 All-Star games, won 4 Gold Gloves. I'm not saying Ron Guzman's going to end up Adrian Gonzalez, but
You're not saying he's not.
yeah, you can't do. All right, second base, Rougned Odor.
Let's hear this grade.
So I gave Guzman a D, and
Okay.
Rougned I'm going to give a D minus.
Generous. Generous.
Yeah, but you can't give him an F because he's been fielding well. He's
Improved
I think he's been-
drastically as a fielder.
Yeah, I think he's been a solid fielder. I think he's shown much more field awareness, baseball awareness than he had in the past. He's finally got, at the plate, he's finally got his OPS over 600, but he's batting 193. Now, yeah, okay, he's hit some home runs. He's got 13 home runs.
Boy, and he will take an hour to get around the bases, too.
Man,
No.
one,
Bat flips.
Oh, yeah.
but
A lot
I
of
mean,
drama on those home runs.
point-
he's
into the
batting
pole.
193, and he still ranks. He still ranks at the bottom of the league for second baseman, and he's been a big disappointment. He's made way too many outs in that lineup, and it's hurt him. At shortstop, Elvis Andrus, B. Elvis is batting 303. He's a team leader. He missed 10 games, which hurt his numbers a little bit, but he's got that OPS plus, which is park adjusted. He's
Listen to
he's
you with the
101.
stats.
Yeah, I
Metric
think
guy.
Sabermetrics guy over here.
yeah, but
isn't he?
I think it's a good way of evaluating performance. Like
Don't
I've said, I
disagree.
don't see too much value in it as for predicting things. As Drupal Cabrera at third base, I give a C minus. He was brought in to fill the position formerly played by Adrian Beltre,
Yeah.
but I think people mistakenly thought that he might replace Beltre. That's not going to happen. He's,
Well, people
Cabrera,
thought that. They were very naive.
Cabrera's a good player, and
He has been. And you said he was going to be good down there at
yeah.
third.
But the problem I have is this ridiculous stat that he can't seem to hit away from
That is,
from Globe
yeah,
Life
read
Park.
this stat. This is crazy.
He's batting at home, he's got an 851 OPS with 11 home runs. On the road, it's 524 with 0 home runs.
I mean, that
and a 197 average away from home. I mean, it makes no sense.
No,
it makes no sense.
You
It's
can't, like, there's a baseball metrics that are interesting, but that one, you couldn't say, oh, we better tweak this about
very
it. No.
fluky.
Yep.
Very
Just
fluky. Let's go to the outfield. Shin-Soo Choo, he's a solid player as always. People need to quit being hung up on the fact that he makes $21 million. He earns it.
It's hard. He does?
Absolutely.
He is not
He's
a
one of the
21
best.
million guy.
Sure he is. In
player.
He is a $21 million free agent. I mean, if you were growing him organically, he wouldn't get up to that amount. But this is what you pay for free agents in baseball. He's batting 288, 384 on base percentage. He's a solid player. He made the All-Star team last year. And if Hunter Pence and Joey Gallo weren't having the kind of seasons, he would have made it this year. He's well respected around the league and around baseball.
And he hasn't been on the DL, has he, this year?
No,
I'm sorry, the IL.
No,
Excuse
the only time he sat down is when the
Oh,
new
right,
manager-
right.
21 million for okay.
Let's see who's next. Joey Gallo.
Gallo.
Oh, I better know what grade he got.
Here comes how many pluses can be by the side of this A?
I've given him an A minus.
Whoa.
Because I still think that although he's an all-star, he missed 22 games with
true.
this
that is
oblique injury. Here's if you want to really make Ranger fans worry, since June 1st, he only has 3 home runs. Now he's been out for a lot of that. He's got 3 home runs since coming back, but maybe that oblique injury still bothering him.
He still does. When they show him in the field, like in between pitches, he's always like tugging at it or trying to get comfortable. Doesn't he?
And that is an injury that will
yeah.
stick around on
That's
you
as
a
hard
little
as
bit.
he swings. It's gonna.
But he's in Cleveland tonight, and everybody needs to watch him.
Did you see that throw he made the other night on Sunday? Sunday afternoon?
Yes.
I did not.
Yeah, I mean
Is it right-handed?
It was a throw. It was a
But
throw to third base, getting throwing out I forget who it was, trying to tag from second to third, and he saved a run.
He's much better in the outfield than I ever thought he would be.
Yeah,
He's very athletic. He's athletic. He's an athlete.
He is.
Wonder if he can do the splits.
I think Nomar Mazara.
Yeah.
There we go. C minus. His slash line is 261. He's on base is 317, a 760 OPS. And the problem with that, he's got 12 home runs. The problem with that is his numbers look the same as they did the last 3 years. And for a 4th year in a row, that's kind of what his slash line is. Now, Nomar's 24. So, the Rangers are going to probably give him a good long look. But he doesn't seem to me like the kind of guy that they would say, all right, let's buy out your remaining years,
right.
and, first couple of years of arbitration. And so I give him a C minus.
But when we had John Daniels on, we all agreed this year we thought was not about team success. It's about growth within, and he needs to be one of the guys that shows growth. Kind of the same. He's like it's reached a plateau at 24. Mm-hmm. Hopefully we're wrong.
Agreed. Hunter Pence, all-star. Richie, you wrote about him. He's a phenomenal story. Unfortunately, he's been out since June 17th.
That's too bad he's not in the game. I mean, I know he's going to be there, but everybody needs to really America probably had forgotten about him, and now they're not going to see his story front and center. That's too bad.
Right. The backup guys. We don't have time.
Give them a collective grade.
B minus C. We're talking about Danny Santana, Logan Forsythe, and Willie Calhoun. Can't forget Willie Calhoun, who's
It's been productive.
That's another guy that I'm enjoy following and see how he develops, because I think Willie Calhoun has remade himself in the last 12 months, and we'll see. Catcher's not worth giving a grade. I think overall,
That's so true. But
batting wise, I think a D plus would be charitable, but C minus. But mainly, I think their main contribution has been how they've helped the pitching staff,
Which has been the surprise of the season.
right
Starting pitching.
Yeah, I think a veteran like Jeff Mathis has been a real plus.
Imagine sitting in
But
class.
poor
and
Jeff is
teacher's
batting
like,
155.
You get a B, you get a C. You're not even worth a grade. You get an A, you get a D. I mean, talk about an insult.
Let's go to the pitchers real quick. And here you get the highest grade to me on the whole team, Mike Minor.
No doubt.
Team MVP of the first half, 18 starts. Batters are only hitting 218 against him. He's won 8 games. He's just solid. Hopefully he'll has he been? No, he hasn't been replaced on the outside. So he could pitch an inning tonight.
I guess he
think.
could.
Yeah,
He said he's not going to, but he could, yes.
yeah. But he's been the best player on the team. A solid A. Right behind him, Lance Lynn, who to me gets an A minus.
Yeah.
He also
Way exceeded.
started 18 games, and despite hitters are batting 256 against him, but that most of the damage against him came in the first month of the season. Since then, the American League, baseball's batting 224 against him, and to me, that's he's become a solid number 2 pitcher. And credit to the Rangers, credit to the general manager, John Daniels, for as few free agent signings as they made. This was a good one.
Yep.
Just to go through the other guys real quickly, I had Adrian Sampson and Ariel Hirado both with C's. They're certainly worth watching in the rest of the season. Bullpen has been a problem. Jesse Chavez is a veteran. He's been the best of the lot, but Sean Kelly, I gave him a C. I think he's got 11 saves, but he's at times he hasn't missed the right amount of bats, and hitters are batting.
C seems wrong. I mean, if you'd have told me Sean Kelly would have 11 saves, I'd have bet you all the money I had.
Yeah,
Crisis is the mother of.
people are hitting 324 against him in the last
true.
month, though, and he's been giving up some dingers, and so I give him a C, and Jose Leclerc also a C.
Yeah. Expected more from him.
Yeah, he was supposed to be the lockdown closer. He got a nice contract extension. People are still batting 211 against him, which is great. Right-handed batters are only hitting 172, but he's walking 5 per 9 innings, and that's a problem.
Way he started though. The C is actually not a bad.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
All right, you got an
it's the
overall
same-
grade on your Rangers?
Oh, overall grade. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. I give them a C plus.
Wow. I mean, from what I expected, I'd give him a B plus, almost an A. John, from what you expected.
B minus.
I'd be in the B range. The league. There's not a whole lot of good teams out there. For one, and they're,
But some of us thought
but they're not one of those teams.
Right, and we thought, well, at least I thought they might lose 95 games.
Yeah.
I mean, way
Right.
exceeding expectations.
One last grade, real quick.
Yes.
The manager, Chris Woodward, A.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
yeah.
He's done a great job.
Yeah, and he hadn't been all braggadocio about it like somebody else that was here. All right, PressBox DFW Live. Next up, speaking of baseball, what if there would have been an All-Star game 100 years ago? We'll tell you what that would have looked like.
I also have another proposed pre-All-Star event.
Let's hear it.
Send the Astros super shift out there with everybody on the
Yep.
right side of the infield, plus a third baseman. in the
4
outfield.
outfielders, yeah.
Send up these Deadpool left hitters and see if they can hit it to the right side or left side.
Blast it through them.
Get it through them. I'd watch that.
Okay. Like you have to play that.
You have to play that. You have to play against that.
Interesting.
Did you see Ross Perot passed away today?
I did
Yeah.
not see that. Wow.
When did you graduate high school, Richie?
82.
So that was before No Pass, No Play.
Correct.
So
Nothing struck more fear in the hearts of teenagers
No
in my
kidding.
day than
That's
No Pass, No
right.
Play.
Yeah.
that's right.
If they would have, and some schools found a way around it pretty quick, but if that would have been instituted by the letter of the law, it would have revolutionized high school sports.
They don't still have it?
Yeah, they've got. I think it's been tempered a little bit.
Now it's no try hard, no play, but that's very subjective.
I mean, you don't pass, you don't play. Yeah, that's
You don't pass, you sit out the first
Yeah.
quarter.
first play.
You miss warm ups.
I also want to make note of Fort Worth semi-pro soccer team, the Vaqueros. They begin the playoffs this week against Denton, the National Premier Soccer League playoffs. The Diablos.
The Vaqueros.
The Vaqueros. I think that's Thursday.
Where do they play?
Yeah, what channel is that going to be on?
It'll be on. It's on a Facebook Live channel.
I bet it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to those boys.
And their home field is?
Farrington Field.
Wow, there you go.
My all-time favorite
Legit.
football stadium. All right, so for some reason I was piddling around with the year 1919. This is kind of the most consequential year of
Because you're a 1919 kind of guy.
yeah, I am.
And you're
yeah,
a piddler.
and I'm very much a piddler.
Yep.
Yes, leave that there. Babe Ruth was sold to the Yankees.
Yep.
We had the Black Sox scandal. And then, little did I know that the St. Louis Cardinals turned down an offer of $250,000 for Rogers Hornsby from the New York Giants, because once the Yankees sold or bought Babe Ruth, the Giants were like, "Oh, good grief!"
Yeah.
And they offered $250,000 for Rogers Hornsby. Branch Rickey was the president and general manager of that Cardinals team, and they needed the money, and they almost took him up on that, but they ultimately decided not to do it, and instead Branch Rickey was like, if we can get $250,000 for this guy, maybe we need more of these guys. So they started they started buying up minor league franchises.
Oh.
And that's where your farm system became a thing. So anyway,
Rogers Hornsby for $250,000. Now today his baseball card's probably $250 million.
I don't
That's
know
how ridiculous it is.
If I had it, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Thanks. Means a lot. Signifies your loyalty to the PressBox DFW.
So anyway, of course, as I mentioned earlier, that there wasn't an All-Star game until 1933. So going through all these 1919 things, I started thinking, what would an All-Star team look like in 1919?
Interesting.
And
All
lo
right.
and behold, when I started doing my research, somebody's already doing it. The Society for American Baseball Research
Really?
has come up with, through fan voting,
Gotcha.
starters.
That's pretty
and then
cool.
Then they've added on. So this is what a baseball team, an all-star baseball team, would look like in 1919. The starting rosters include some guys you probably heard of. In the AL, George Sisler.
Sure.
The leading vote getter, and this has to be a 21st century revisionist thing, Eddie
Okay.
Collins, who was a second baseman on that Chicago White Sox team, who wasn't implicated at all in the gambling.
I'm not real
Controversies.
familiar with him. Gil, you covered this game. What was Eddie Collins like? You and Sister Eusebia probably went to.
I listened to that
tickets.
game.
You transistor in the class.
But go on, John.
Buck Weaver was a third baseman who was implicated in the Black Sox scandal, as was Lefty Williams and Eddie Cicotte. I mispronounce his name all the time. Cicotte of the White Sox. All those guys were banned from baseball. Babe Ruth, last year with the Red Sox, was voted on that team, as was Ty Cobb. Walter Johnson.
Do you think if we got to see this game, we would be as wowed as we think we would by Ty Cobb and Babe Ruth?
Oh, are you kidding?
Would they stand
Especially
out?
Babe Ruth.
Like no doubt.
Yeah, he was a superstar before the time of the superstar.
Or would we look at him and just go, "That's Babe Ruth"? I mean, that big, pudgy, wobbly.
Hey Ziggy, can you go back to that picture of Babe Ruth? Or did you put it up? So that was him as a Red Sox player, obviously.
Golly, look how young.
Young guy.
All the pictures I've ever seen, the black and white photos I've ever seen of Ty Cobb are so dynamic. I mean, there's dirt flying. There's
Yeah.
spikes up in the
It's
air.
like they had the greatest photographers.
He
back
would be a
then.
pretty compelling gate attraction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
Then he-
look
but
at
then he would,
this.
but
Look at
then
his
he would stand in
hands.
the box like that. It would be like
It's like
not
he's
gonna
getting
hit
ready to
anything.
break into a 7-Eleven or something.
Exactly. Looks like a good carjacker, but I don't know if he could hit. And watch out for those bats behind you. And it's a big crowd today at the field.
You know the Tigers held spring training for a while at Waxahachie.
Yeah.
Of all places.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, they actually
not
that
know that.
stadium's still there. It's been refurbished and everything, but the high school team plays there now.
What a treat for those players. We're going to have spring training in Waxahachie. Wait, we can go to Bradenton or Fort Myers.
But you don't know. Waxahachie might have looked like Paris back in those days. Maybe not.
I can't imagine that it
wasn't-
did. I mean,
Yeah, more like Crowley.
So, anyway,
Walter Johnson was a starting pitcher on this team. So these games that Sabre people have put together are played through simulation. So they
Obviously,
actually play
yeah.
these games.
Okay.
And in this particular one, the National League won, and our man Walter Johnson took the loss. They won 4-3.
I bet he went all 9 innings because that's the kind of guy he was.
No, Sakat was in there, and Lefty Williams, they threw him in there as well. They kind of played it just like a regular All-Star game.
Gotcha.
Our man Rogers Hornsby from Fort Worth. I've written about him. I don't know when we're going to start posting stories again, but you'll see a story about him soon on PressBox DFW. He was a star on the National League team. As was, tell me if you heard these guys: Larry Doyle, Ivy Olson, Zach Wheat,
heard of him.
Ivy Wingo,
These all sound made up to me.
Hippo Vaughn.
What?
Oh, there we go. Sounds like a rapper.
Zippo Vaughn featuring John Doe.
Dutch Reather. Never heard of him.
These are all-stars in 1919?
All- National League All-Stars.
Would be all-stars?
Casey Stengel was an all-star, according to this.
All right, well, the AL, in the
Simulation.
real world, AL would kick this team's butt.
No doubt.
But in simulation, maybe not.
But anyway, that's what a 1919 All-Star team might look like.
Poor people had to miss that game.
Yeah.
All right,
Thank you,
next
John.
up in PressBox DFW Live, let's bring in our old friend Matt Mosley. He's going to try to translate what, to most of us, is a Mavericks free agent mess. Wits In, sponsored by AutoFlex Leasing. Save money, save time. Leasing is the right way to go. AutoFlex.com. Go see David and Tammy. Tell them that the good guys at PressBox DFW Live sent you. All right, we're going to bring in Matt Mosley, staff writer at PressBoxDFW.com. He's been covering the Mavs, and what I think has been, I mean, you guys can chime in while we get Matt. It was a swing and a miss for the Mavs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, is there any other way to say it? With what we were again told and again delivered was, I mean, the Mavericks 8 years ago won the championship. Cuban tore the team apart, said, let everybody go. We'll put it back together my own way. They haven't won a playoff series since. They haven't gotten a good free agent since, and this is just another log on the fire, right?
I mean, they didn't even get a sniff out of
No.
some of these guys.
$30 million in cap space turned into Seth Curry and DeLon Wright, and some third-string novelty act of a center named Boban.
Borat.
I don't think it was before that. Oh, there he is. There's the great Matt Mosley. Mosley, what's up?
Hi guys, I love being with you via Skype.
Mosley, we're just we're putting your
goodness.
recent photo,
Promotional.
your
right?
promotional headshot on the screen, and getting a big kick out of that. Nice that you wore your shades for that picture. All right, what?
I hope you can see me. I'm
Now we
live
have you.
right
Now we have you
from
live
my
and in color.
studios.
Yep, with all your awards over your shoulder. So,
Yeah, look, that's Arnold Palmer hits his final. If you can see, if I can turn my
There you
deal
go.
there, that's
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
his final.
there's the
I
bridge,
was
yeah.
there in the British Open at Swilkenburn. That's the final time. That was Arnie's final time to play the British Open at St. Andrews, and I was studying abroad. I mean, I use the word studying loosely, but I was there.
What was her name?
And
Yeah.
what?
And you
What was
stole
what?
you stole this off the wall at St. Andrews?
Yeah.
No. And in fact, that was the year John Daly won it, and now the Brits are denying him the right to play in this thing. He wants to use a cart because of osteoporosis.
No, shut him down. He doesn't deserve it.
Oh, here we go.
No.
The
right.
RNA has said no.
Good. I'm a big
No, sir.
RNA fan.
Yeah.
All right,
but
tell us
I do
about the
have
Mavs.
a
What
lot
did you expect,
Yeah.
and what did we get?
You know, I don't know why I expected anything more, and I will never do this again. And I want to apologize to our loyal readers and listeners at PressBox DFW. I mean, I called this the most important free agency period.
Yes,
I
you
still
did.
stand by that. I thought it was very, very important to build this team. I thought Luka might have some. I thought people might be kind of excited about him.
Right, want to play with him.
And it just turned out to, hey, everybody was. I thought Kimba and Tobias Harris. I thought there might be some interest from them. They didn't even sniff. The Kimba thing was over by Thursday.
Yeah.
So this thing was already going poorly, and there I am in Canada, where everything was all about Kawhi. I was on some kind of random sightseeing adventure in Calgary at the time, and you could just tell Sunday things were just getting away from the Mavs. And then by the end, I mean, you were just happy. I was out looking at panda bears at the Calgary Zoo
Of course you were.
on I think Monday, and you were just happy to have Seth Curry, who I love. But again, Cuban builds this up. Now I love it, the quotes, and nobody even really pushes him on this stuff. Now he's saying, well, you have two stars. I mean, we have our two guys in Luka and Porzingis. We sort of knew this would be the way. No. Mark was being quoted like 2 weeks ago, like, this is when I do my work. This is when I go to work. This is kind of when I go in my bunker. And so,
Well, Donnie
now,
Nelson was saying we're going to be aggressive. We're going to split aces. That was his quote.
yeah, maybe that's DeLon Wright. And,
Those are not
Steph
aces,
Curry.
and you know that. Those are like threes, splitting your threes. Here's we're watching
That
highlights
sounds
of
sounds-
Seth Curry, who he can shoot. We'll give him that.
Oh, he's an excellent shooter, and they
Okay.
should have let him get away. And he was really good for Portland. I love the guy, but what in this day and age, you're not going to be able to compete. Paul George now teaming up with Kawhi, LeBron, and AD. We don't know what Porzingis is going to be. I mean, is he going to go back to being the unicorn? I don't know. How many games is he going to play? I think you could say it would be great if you could get 60 to 65 games out of him. That would be wonderful.
Sure.
After the way his career's played out over the last 2 seasons. So we don't know what he's going to come. And I think that's what these other guys thought too. We don't know exactly what Dallas is. And then at some point, and I wrote a column on this. Oh my gosh, Richie's going to be so mad. Gil, I don't know if you told him.
I'm already
I
mad.
did
Go
like
ahead.
a list. I made a list of the reasons why they're not coming to Dallas. But you are the owner. I mean, your lists are great, and you'll do like 243. I mean, it's scary how much you love these lists. I did one.
I love
I did
America,
one.
sir. What was your
And-
list?
I like number
I can't-
7.
I can't get this thing published. I'm having trouble with it.
There's a story behind that. We are. Yeah, it'll be up this afternoon. It's already. It's ready to go. We're just waiting for our tech people to
Until you
give
take
us the okay.
Until you
We're-
take the Skype
Wait a-
camera off the floor, we're not going to.
wait a-
We're not going to give you.
Oh, am I not? Is it not on me?
No, I'm kidding.
Matt-
It just looks like you're the Jolly Green Giant, like it's down low on the floor.
Matt, you'll
really?
appreciate then the
Hold
photo we have with your column. You'll appreciate the photo.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
everybody needs to look at it.
All right, so we looked at.
No, not that one.
So we looked at some Seth Curry video. I've also dug up some video on DeLon Wright, the Mavericks, the other guy they
man.
signed.
Which
No,
of the
Well, here's DeLon Wright.
That's the wrong right.
Oh, that's not the right. That's not,
Who's
I
he
thought he
got?
was. I thought he was
other Wright
I thought
brother.
He was the lost right.
He's lost now.
The Wright brothers.
Yeah, I thought,
That's the first charge ever
yeah,
reported.
he was drawn to charge. All right, we actually have some footage of DeLon Wright, who I liked him when he played college at Utah. He's a good defender. He's
don't.
athletic.
You don't remember him.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
I do. I
right.
absolutely do. He
You
could get to the
tall.
rim, but the next jump shot he makes outside the paint will be the first. He cannot shoot. And maybe
that one year at Toronto, he shot 37%. He has had one season. Now he's like 27 years old now.
Yep.
He had one season over 35%. He's 33%. This team, okay, Seth can flat out shoot the three.
True that.
So I love that. All right. But then they're going to also have, you know, who loves to shoot threes, and he just kills me with it. And Brad Townsend, by the way, my old buddy from the Morning News. My gosh, that poor guy has been beat up so hard on Twitter. He is delirious at this point. I mean, like it is rough. People have kind of, because they keep coming up with these like headlines that like, hey, Mavs were moderately successful.
Ooh.
Like, it's okay just to say it was awful. It was another awful free agency.
Yeah.
You can't put lipstick on a pig. And this whole thing about like, hey, Mavs were able to keep their powder dry. No, they're not. Like, this stuff doesn't, like, we don't go, oh my gosh, look, we'll use that next year.
Nope, doesn't work
It
that way.
eventually goes away because then you have to use it to sign Kleber and the old, and
Dwight Powell and the whole
Dwight Powell.
Oh, yeah.
And oh my God, we'll go crazy. Dwight Powell loves to attempt threes.
Yes,
This
he
is
does.
his
That's
new
his guy.
trick.
Yep.
How much do you think Carlisle has anything to do with this? I mean, as far as, you know, he's not a player. Doesn't have a reputation as a player's coach. He's a prickly guy. Do you think guys just don't want to come play for him?
Well, I think I don't think it's quite that. I think we're looking too closely when we think that's it, because I do think Rondo's probably gone around telling everybody that this guy's an a-hole. I mean, don't think that hasn't happened.
Right.
And that's fairly accurate, by the way. Although
an
I've got a
a-hole,
pretty
yeah.
good relationship with Rick. It's been on again, off again, mostly off again lately. As a lot of my relationships tend to be. But I think there's some of that out there. But Rick won a championship. Rick is still, from a national standpoint, all the national, when Bill Simmons gets together with all his basketball buddies, they still see Rick Carlisle is a top 4 or 5 coach. We just got to live with the fact that for whatever reason, although Richie, like wits in columns, he comes up with the most fun things to do ever. Hey guys, I'm over at some chef's house tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Dallas is a fun place. We think that, but these guys don't care.
We need to
They
start
don't see
sending
it that
wits in
way.
out to prospective Mavs targets, and maybe they would think it was fun to do.
I think on the whole,
Oh.
I mean, not getting involved with some of these guys is a good thing, because the NBA's, what does a contract mean anymore? I mean, Paul George signed an extension last year. They just force a
True.
trade anyway.
So we've been giving grades today, Mosey. What do you give the Mavericks free agent grade?
D-.
Yeah, at best. I'm with you.
Yeah, D-. And I got people, God, the MFFLs, led by, I'm trying to decide who in the local media is leading the MFFLs. And I wrote about this in that column that I hope Gil publishes someday. I said something about they're hiring so many newspaper writers. It's like those guys are like held hostage. Like, I guarantee you, Sefco and some of those guys, like, they want to say stuff, but they're working for the team.
Right.
Like, at some point, we're all
100%.
gonna, like, I think Cuban's gonna make a play for PressBox DFW.
Fine.
And
Mosey's going to
and
come in
I'm
here. When he
afraid
does,
Gil-
you're coming in here next week and going, you
No.
know what? More I think about it, that's an A. That's an A free agency after more I think about it. Mosey, we got to run, man, but have fun with
What?
your son. Sorry, we got time's up.
Don't forget
Hey,
the
this is our new
Dooms.
sponsor, by the way. I've got this new
Oh, go
this
ahead.
brand of shirt I'm liking wearing.
Yep.
It's called Cricket. Luke Wilson and I developed it. The actor from Dallas, and
is
I think
happening
they're going
right
to
now?
sponsor us.
You think so?
All
Yeah,
right.
no,
We'll do it.
they've been like DMing me and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Some people have women slide their DMs. I have like apparel companies.
Don't
Mosley-
forget the Doomsday podcast.
Yeah, we love you. Oh, yeah. What about your
Oh.
Doomsday podcast? You want to give a plug for that?
Yep.
Oh,
Listen
good,
to
because we're
it,
out of
man.
time anyway. Don't worry about it.
All right.
All right, there goes
Thanks,
Matt
Matt.
Mosley. Read him.
Okay, love you guys.
Read him at
Bye-bye.
PressBoxDFW.com maybe one of these days. All right, we got to get up on out of here. Walk Off is next. Gil Leberton, what is at our fabulous site? We're tweaking the site. So is stuff up? What's
We've
going on?
redesigned a few things in order to make to make it easier to navigate our site.
Yeah.
And plenty of good options on there you'll see, and watch for it. And we'll have that up shortly, like within 24 hours, we hope.
And when it gets up, there's a look at it. And when it goes live, what are the stories that John? What's your latest and greatest up there?
I got something coming from about Rogers.
Oh, that's
Hornsby.
right, you do. And Mosley has a Mavs column. Apparently, is that what he said he has coming up?
Yeah,
got a Mavs
his
list.
25,
Mavs list.
25 things.
Son of a, really did a list.
I think that
sue
the
him.
title is Bucky's and 24 other things that free agents missed about the Mavericks.
That's kind of funny. All right, read us at PressBoxDFW.com. Thanks for checking us out again for another award-winning episode of PressBox DFW Live. For Gil Leberton, for John Henry, I'm Richie Witt, and we'll see you guys in the PressBox DFW.